For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet. I'm coming to you live from Waco, Texas, and we have a very special guest. She is currently based out of Nashville, Tennessee, Stephanie Nash. How's it going today, Stephanie?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Just riding the waves that are currently going on with the Corona deal, and just kind of riding the waves.
I know. They shut down Nashville yesterday, so everybody's kind of dispersing.
Yeah, I heard that they started shutting down like the main strip there. Is that accurate or?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. There's still some bars that are fighting it, but I mean, when it comes down to it, they're probably going to have to close.
Yeah, because if there's not the draw there, then it's there's kind of no point in staying open if you can't draw the business.
Yeah, exactly.
But then that goes back to a conversation I was having with my buddy this morning. It's like they can't legally like tell you have to close your business, but the reason that the bars and the restaurants and all these people are kind of falling in line is because they hold federal licenses. So it's kind of one of those deals. But, I think overall for the betterment of what's going on, maybe it's just time that everybody just, chill and let this thing blow over.
Yeah, I know I get it's hard. I know there's some bigger artists that have been coming out saying like, people that are still on Broadway are still singing like, why don't you stay inside? And I'm like, I get their point, but I also get the point of people that like, they don't have a label or they don't have people paying for them. It's hard for them. At least I have another job to fall back on, but I know a lot of these artists don't have another income.
Yep, that is very true. And that's just the very hard divide pretty much, because these independent musicians that don't have a 9-to-5 job, that are full-time musicians, but don't have the backing of a studio or a sponsor or a whatever, it's like, what do they do? It's an interesting time, and hopefully it'll all blow over relatively quick.
Yeah, I hope so. I think the best thing we can do is kind of just relax. I think everybody's kind of tired of talking about it, but at the same time, we're just got to live our lives and, be positive about the whole situation and kind of move forward instead of talking about. I think that's the biggest thing that me and my parents were like, okay, it's going to happen. It's already going on. So just live your life and do what you can to get by until it's over,
Yep. And there was another point brought up every day we have a news meeting that for the next 8-12 weeks, there's going to be a new normal, and we're just going to kind of have to adjust to it and live your life the best way you can and make sure that you and yours are taken care of. But, on the other hand, so it's like that weird give and take almost.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, for musicians, I know it's going to be hard, but we do have to think about the elderly. And also, what stinks is all those seniors. I know, like myself being in agriculture, like all those FFA kids that have worked so hard for their degree and that show animals and livestock. I know Houston, when they shut down, that was a huge agriculture loss for them. And so it's not just like artists, it's we have to feed animals. And I think that's what me and my parents have been talking about. It's crazy, like going into the stores and just seeing almond milk and the plant-based beef. And I'm like, well, when it comes down to it, most of these people are picking out farm-grown food. And they don't care what they believed in before. It's just crazy to me what now people will buy after, what they've said or fought for years and years and years. But when it comes down to it, the farmers are doing really great things and stepping up here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that you brought up the Houston thing, because we covered that pretty extensively last week, because we're where I'm at right now, I'm only about 2.5 hours from Houston.
Oh yeah, it's not far. Yeah.
And somebody showed me a video that a viewer sent in from because like I guess they canceled the Houston rodeo and that whole like festival they have down there, like in the middle of it. And all these, because I never knew how the FFA thing worked, because growing up in Chicago, we didn't have that. So it was like, luckily when I went to college and then moved on, I started moving into more rural areas. And so I started learning about what FFA was and what it meant and, all that stuff. And they showed me this video. They had just, the day before it canceled, they had just shown like all the kids they just showed like their sheep, and they had to leave their sheep there because they were getting ready to get sold and to the highest bid, or they were getting ready to get sold off or whatever. But because they canceled the thing, they ended up just going to the slaughter. And like all these kids are like, no, that's not what we were expecting. Like, yeah, we kind of expected that something like that might happen, but we were, it was an interesting experience to watch these kids witness that, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that one, but it's just,
No, you're good. I mean, I grew up in agriculture, so I get it. Like the biggest thing with that is like people like depend on that for their college scholarships. And so I think they ended up having like a little cell out at a ranch is what I
yeah,
saw. So
yeah,
at least they can do that. But I know here in Tennessee, all of our big advisors here are just heartbroken because they don't get to deliver their last address and last words as a senior in FFA. And so, but I mean, we got to stay open. Agriculture's got to keep running so
yep,
people can eat. And that's all I got to say about that. I could talk about it for days because people don't really appreciate where their food comes
oh,
from. But, I
my,
work with it every day. So,
oh yeah, and I mean, luckily for me, even though I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago, my mom's entire side of the family, they were all pig farmers up in like the northern, up near like Wisconsin.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
So like every summer for a few days, my family would go up there and at least get a taste of what they do. But it really wasn't enough to be like, hey, it was a little bit of exposure, but it really wasn't enough to fully understand what they do and what it takes to raise a pig from birth all the way to the end there.
Yeah. Yeah. I get you.
But enough about that. That was a nice little side tangent. If that's how the rest of this is going to be, I'm really interested to see where the rest of this podcast goes. But so you're not originally from Nashville. You're from California, correct?
Yeah, I'm from Fresno, California. Let's not get that mistaken. I'm not from the city. I'm from the biggest agriculture county in the United States.
Okay.
I grew up in the central part, and my first 20 years of my life that's where I lived.
Okay, cool. And how did you? Well, let's start from the beginning. What got you into music originally?
I mean, I've always been into music. I went to a school where, choir was pretty big, and I always sang in church, and I always loved the writing side. I never really got into playing guitar, and sometimes I think that can hinder me a little bit when it comes to rounds, finding a guitar player. But in fact, I found it to where my music is a little bit more unique. I don't listen to new stuff very often. I try to keep away from that. So when I do come out with new music, it's different and it's new and it's fresh, and I want to sound unique. And I think I've been having some good writes and some good music come out, especially my new song that just came out Friday.
Oh, yeah. And we'll definitely get to the new song here in a moment, but who are some of your influences musically?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I say this all the time. Everybody asks me this. I think the biggest one for me, like vocally, you got to go with like Martina
Mm-hmm.
and Leanne, and of course Reba. Everybody looks up to Reba, and then obviously Dolly is a huge one. Just her heart and her faith and what she believes in as a person. When it comes to like the other countryside, like the male influences, definitely Brooks and Dunn. I love some rock and roll country. Toby Keith was my favorite growing up, and so I just really like look towards those people that were country like Craig Morgan, and still have that good base for themselves, that never changed their ways. So that's the kind of artist I want to be. I don't want to change with society. I'd rather keep country in my opinion. So yeah, that's just how I am.
That's awesome. And how long have you been in Nashville?
I've been in Nashville for about 5 years, but I've only been doing music for like the past like 2-3 years. I got back into writing, and then this year we're full steam ahead. I wrote and produced everything last year, and so now I'm ready to release new stuff.
Okay, awesome. And
Yeah.
what kind of took you, or what kind of brought you, because what kind of brought you back into music once you came to Nashville, or what kind of brought you?
Yeah, so I originally came for our farm.
Okay.
So we moved our farm to Middle Tennessee, and I had like I had no idea how Nashville was, like how, like, you move to Nashville, you really do pursue music, and you work your butt off. And we had a guy come to the farm, and he was working with one of our reps, and he was a songwriter, and he was a pretty big songwriter. I didn't know, but he kind of got me back into writing. And then as I loved it even more, like it's something that I didn't want to give up. And so I've really been pushing hard myself to just create good music and have somebody notice the hard work that I do.
Nice. Awesome. And then so we'll go ahead and talk about the single that you're getting ready to release here. What was that? What's your creative process like when you sit down to write in general just in general, what's your process like?
Well, I'll say I don't really have much of a process, because I work so much, like being at the farm, and then I also teach indoor cycling on the side to create just some revenue for my music. I'm lucky enough to where I've been able to record 4 or 5 songs a year, but I don't really have a process. Like, I drive so much, I write a lot on the road.
Okay.
I'll come in with some song titles in a group setting, or if they have a title, we'll roll with it. But I mean, it's kind of a hit or miss, and I think you'll hear that with a lot of songwriters. Like, you'll have like your off months. Mine was like November to like February, and I finally got writing again. And then you'll have those months where you write like 10 to 20 songs a month. So I mean, it's just whatever you feel, I guess, in that month or that day.
Gotcha. And so what was what was this the first time, or no, this wasn't your first time actually going into the studio to record this song that just released on Friday?
No. So I've been recording with Kent for a year and a half now, Kent
Okay.
Wells. And he is amazing. I had a struggle trying to find a producer. Like, it's really hard coming in as a new artist to find the right people. And so I really applauded myself for that, like not rushing into it, because I had a friend was like, you need to go to Kent. And so I sent him my music, and it was like 20 minutes later, he called me personally, and he really wanted to work with me. And this is a guy that's busy all the time. And so I was really honored that he took me under his wing and was like, it's, your vocals are there. And, going through high school, I never really got acknowledged for that. You know, I was a huge athlete first, singing second.
Mhm.
And so it was finally good to hear like I had the ability to go somewhere, and he loves my music and he makes it sound so good. So I'm just super blessed for, you know, being able to have a studio and a producer like that.
Nice. And what one thing that we really like to do before we go full into the specific song, what's one thing that younger musicians need to know before they go into the studio for the first time?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think the biggest thing is don't rush it. Like, don't rush your songs. Like, I had probably about 40 to choose from, and then, you know, I went in and I chose 6, and out of those 6, 3 of them will go somewhere. The other 3 are just gonna be mastered, but yeah, just don't rush it. You got time. I mean, I've only been in town for, like I said, 2 to 3 years, and there's people that are just getting signed that have been here way longer than me, but, just have a good work ethic. You know, I the other thing is, I think people down me on this, but I wanna make good music and I need rest, and you also need to fund that. So for me, I get the funds, I think, a little bit faster because I work 2 jobs.
Hmm.
Other people don't get to record as much music as I do, but I also don't network as much. I network enough, but I also wanna continue to write good music and get good sleep and focus on my career first. And don't get me wrong, I support a lot of artists. I don't think of myself as an inner circle kind of girl. I love being a supportive artist and believing in other artists. I just really want to believe in myself first and get good music down, and people will see that eventually.
Perfect. That was a great answer. Um, what's so let's focus on the song here. What's the name of the song, and what's kind of the feel and the vibe of the song for the people that haven't had a chance to hear it yet?
Yeah, so Best Side of Me is the name of the song, and I wrote this with my 3 buddies, Ethan Willis, Logan Garner, and Jody Chappell. And we came into this all new, never had written together. And I had actually seen Ethan at a songwriting round. He's become one of my very good friends, and so he came in with this idea, and he was like, "Okay, let's make it for you," because he knew I was looking for new music, upbeat music. And so we came in. You know, they're all country boys, and me being an agriculture girl, I loved every minute of writing the song. It's really edgy. It's got that rock and roll undertone, that older 90s country kind of sound stuff, but a little bit of twang and some bluesy in there. You know, I praise myself on taking voice lessons for 10 years to where my voice has gotten pretty strong, and I love those strong notes. I've always been going back to Leanne and Martina. Like, I think people have lost that like strong country feel, you know.
Hmm.
We've gone back too much, and I just love the edginess of country music. And so you're definitely not going to waste any time with this flariness of the of the country music here on this song.
Nice. Um, and why did you choose this song specifically to release?
All right, so this is a new one. So I have a new team going into 2020.
Okay.
Amazing people that believe in me. Last year, I was kind of struggling with finding myself and what I really wanted, and finding people that really wanted to help me. And this year, going in with a new team, I had an idea coming in, and they're like, "No, let's scratch that." And they're like, "Let's make this a summer song. It's a perfect summer song. It's a drinking song. It's a party song. It's a driving down the road song." And so, yeah, I mean, there wasn't really much behind it. I love the song. I wanted to push the song. I think it's a great new brand for myself to come out strong. Music Row wrote an article about me. I had no idea. I was crying when my manager called me, but they named me their Discovery Artist Award 2 weeks ago. And so that was a huge moment of like everything that I've been pushing for and just working on me. And so, yeah, the song just kind of came as it is. Like, we recorded it, and it was strong, and I wanted to release it. So now here it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this morning, trying to figure out how, how we were originally introduced, and then I remembered it was you played the Key West Songwriters Festival or something last year, correct?
Yeah, I played a couple of rounds. That was kind of tricky because it was a last minute event, and like I said, I was getting to know more people, and
Mm-hmm.
that was probably the best trip I had taken. Like, if you're really serious about your music, and like if you want to be here in Nashville and make good music, whether it's country or not, like
Mm-hmm.
that is a great songwriters festival to go to because everybody is so friendly. I have not met many people that, turn you away. Down there, I met so many good, great friends that I still talk to. I invite rounds to. They invite me to rounds, and so if you're a new artist, definitely looking to go. I know we're all going as long as we can still go there. We'll
Mm-hmm.
see. But yeah, it's a great experience down there. You meet so many people.
Yeah, because I know I was given the information of it like the week before it started, and so I tried to put something together, and it just wasn't panning out, and so unfortunately I wasn't able to go. But it was like one of the musicians that we worked with in Nashville was playing there, and I saw her share the event, and then I saw two more people that we wanted to work with, and then I saw your name and then a bunch of other Nashville musicians, and I was like, well, I can't make it to Nashville, but I can sure make it to Key West. So let's figure this out. And then it just didn't end up working out. But
Yeah, it's kind of, I went last minute too, and it was just, I stayed in a room full of like 8 people, so it was just not doing that again this year. So
well, I mean, and
yeah.
unfortunately, it's Key West, so like that's kind of there's not much room in the Keys there. So like,
No, and as a musician, like you have to do cheap. I went for 3 days, and I think I paid $200. Like, we're doing the same thing this year, but at least we got an extra bathroom and an
yeah,
extra bed. So
nice. That's all.
yeah, yeah.
But no, I was that just popped into my head this morning when I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I know I've talked to her before, but I'm trying to figure out where.
Yeah,
And
we had planned it for a while, and then you're like, man, I just can't get down there. And I was like, it's fine. You'll make it to Nashville eventually.
yeah, and then so then from there I ended up moving out to Texas, and now here I am, Texas. I love it. it
Nice.
but so one thing that we kind of already touched this subject a little bit, but what advice, just general advice, whether it be life advice, music advice, do you have for younger musicians?
Do not sign with anybody the moment you get to Nashville. Luckily, I found Kent right in time. There's so many people around that just want 15, 2,500, whatever they're going to tell you for promo, social media. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, do social media yourself. Engage with your followers. Like, I'm proud of mine. I don't buy followers. Like, I'm true to who I am. Like, I don't use like filters or like anything like that. And I love being photogenic, but don't pay people for that.
Mm-hmm.
Do that yourself. Save your money for producing and you know professional photos for your albums and stuff like that. But do not sign with anybody unless you get some type of guidance from somebody else in the industry, whether it's another artist that has been there for 2 to 3 years, or, I mean, I got a mentor, Precious Harris. She's amazing. She knows everybody in town. So she's been a great one. And obviously Kent has been a great one. But yeah, just don't sign with the first person that loves you is what I would say. Because most of the time, they're going to take your money and they're going to do nothing for you.
Yep. And the
Yeah.
same goes for don't pay to open for a national headlining act.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
still people that do it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, don't do that. That's the thing that I'm proud of. Like, you know, I now I'm at the point where I'm paying for radio promotion because this song is bigger for me. It's strong. I've heard really good feedback. And I'm at that point, I didn't rush it. It took me 2 years to get there. But don't pay for the things that you can do yourself, and be proud of the things that you built up yourself. Cause that's where I am right now. Like, I'm proud of, I don't have too many streams on this song yet, but I'm still proud of it because I worked my butt off to get here, and I produced it, and I saved money. And now I'm at the point to where I can push as much as I can for the next couple of weeks for this song.
Yeah. And just an FYI for you, I did put your song on our Spotify playlist. So hopefully we can get you a couple more listens, streams. That's one thing. Like, we've been trying to figure out little things that we can do to help musicians, and building Spotify lists seems to be a good thing that we've been able to do. So,
Oh, thank you. That's nice.
but so we were talked a little bit about the virus that's going around and how it's kind of affecting everybody's shows. How is it kind of affecting your shows right now? It looks like that you've gone out and been able to like do like little mini tours. Is that accurate? Or and how's the
Yes. So I guess the biggest thing right now is like I'm not really affected because I'm not one of those people that does a 4-hour set. I don't get paid for singing unless it's like a fair festival. But I'm not in that market quite yet. So it hasn't really affected me much. The biggest thing that I'm afraid of is when I'm get ready for radio tour. In the next month or so, that I'm not going to be able to go. That's the biggest thing, because I really want to get out there. I'm a huge advocate for agriculture. There's a lot going on, great things that are coming. I'm raising money for an FFA scholarship. My new single will be coming out September, and I know that's a long ways away, but it's a big deal for me to be able to tell my story and, connect with people, because I'm not just going out there for my music. If you love my music, that's great, but I care about my community and like the lyrics that I write, and I hope that that can be the story. So that's my biggest thing, is like not being able to get on radio tour in time. So it might have to be postponed, I guess, till the summertime.
Gotcha. And are you still planning on or it looks like you're on your website, it says you're going to Baton Rouge here in about a week or so, or less than a week, or is that kind of been rescheduled?
That's canceled. That's
Okay.
canceled, but I actually dropped that last minute because of the radio tour.
Okay.
So we kind of,
Gotcha.
everything's kind of getting dropped anyways.
Yeah.
But we were afraid that I would need to do stuff around here, and so we decided not to go. But then they canceled it, so it's kind of all messed up anyways.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Understood. One thing that's feels like it's kind of gotten swept under the rug a little bit. Were you affected by the tornado a couple weeks back?
Oh my gosh, no, I was not. But it's crazy because my phone went off at 12:30, and I have 2 roommates, and we're in East Nashville, but we're far enough to where we didn't get hit. And I like woke them up, and I was like, you guys should probably just be awake just in case, I don't know what's gonna happen. And we were watching on Twitter, somebody was recording it, and Peyton was like, my roommate was like, I know where that is. And I was like, I don't like that you know where that is, because close to here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's been crazy. I went up, drove around, I went and dropped some stuff off, and I think that's the biggest thing that's bugging me about all these people that are hoarding everything, is like, people still don't have homes and electricity and basic needs for stuff, and you guys are like literally buying everything out of the stores. So I mean, that's been hard, because like there's a lot of people even around our agriculture community that are older, like they can't get out and get that kind of stuff. So I think just people need to take a step back and realize, like, get what you need and there's still people hurting from the tornado. And I mean, we got hit pretty good, East
Yeah.
Nashville and North Nashville. So I mean, there's still a lot of people without homes.
Yeah, I saw when I woke up that morning, I saw a post and I was like, wait a minute, really? And then I started seeing all like the photos and I was like, oh, this is real, for real, for real. And it was just mind boggling because like it's not even really it was like not even really tornado season, and the destruction that it caused and just seeing. But I will say, I saw a live stream that News Channel 5 did. Shout out to them. Um, where one of the anchors was kind of walking down one of the, like, I get it, walking down the road where there was a lot of like mom and pop local businesses. And at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, whatever time it was, everybody was out there helping each other, like put their buildings back together, board up windows, clean up debris, and just try and make sure that their businesses were taken care of. And, it was just like this real communal effort. And it was really, really good to see. Like made me feel good that there are still good people in this world.
Oh yeah, there were so many people out. Like they were telling, like, people were sending like relief teams from other states, and they were sending them back because it was already done.
Yeah.
I mean, the next day you should have seen, there were so many people with trucks and trailers, and I wish I could have helped more. I took some stuff, but having live animals and being on the farm, I had to be there. But yeah, it was crazy. I know my roommate went out to Mount Juliet. I knew some people that went over to North, because North's not, very, where it got hit was very poor. So I know a lot of people tried to go over there and help those people, because East got hit. I'm not downplaying the neighborhoods. I'm just saying, like, it's, they didn't get as much help as East was. So I know a lot of people tried to navigate towards North. But yeah, it was, and then Mount Juliet obviously got hit huge. And then Cookville got hit really bad. They were the worst. So yeah, it's crazy. Within, an hour and a half, there's 4 cities hit in one night.
Yeah, that's that, because I was talking to our meteorologist about the tornado, because he's like really into studying tornadoes and learning how they work and operate and all that stuff. And he was like, yeah, it was really weird because it stayed on the ground for 60 miles, and that never happens.
Yeah, no, that was that, and it just, oh man, it was big. It made me nervous when we were watching it live, and I'm like, okay, this is just too close for comfort here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was getting too close, but
yeah, so when you're not playing music or working on the farm, what do you do for fun or just to get out? What's kind of your hobby, I guess?
I mean, I really don't have one. I mean, you should see my schedule. I mean, that's what I'm just used to it. I grew up that way. Like I said, I was a huge athlete. I was a year-round swimmer my whole life, and I was always busy. My parents were always busy. I mean, I really don't have a hobby. I mean, the biggest thing I would say is my Great Pyrenees dog. Everybody knows her. Oh my God, she is adorable. But she turns 2 on Saturday, so we're probably gonna have her birthday party or something. But that's what I do. I drive around with her, and I mean, when I'm bored, I usually go to the farm or go for a run or something. I don't do much because I don't get much sleep as it is. I have to be up at 5, and sometimes I have rounds till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And so I I would say my hobby would be just trying to get enough sleep to go to the next day.
Understood completely.
Yeah.
What kind of farm do you work at or live on, or what do you raise?
We have dairy cattle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you had in Fresno as well?
Yeah, that's what we had in Fresno too, dairy cattle.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, like it. See, this is a interesting part of the podcast because we've kind of hit everything. But so I'm going to ask you a very vague question that's kind of meant to let you take it where you want to take it. What or why music?
Why music? I mean, I guess just because I grew up singing and, I didn't get I think the biggest thing for me is like I got told no so many times in high school because I had a different voice coach and I was, I couldn't commit 100% to music because I was in sports and I couldn't do this and I didn't have this range and I think I'll always gravitate towards music. It's always a healing process for me. Um, and now that things are happening in the agriculture community and, in my life as I'm getting older, I think it's the biggest thing is gravitating towards telling my story. And it's just music. Like once you're an artist, like you can't really fall away from it. Once you've come this far and are recording music and like in especially being in Nashville and having country music, like it's like the most amazing experience and also like the most heartbreaking because sometimes like last year I was like, man, I feel like I'm going nowhere. And then, you wake up to people admiring you for your music and your vocals. And it's such a good feeling and it gets you back up, from where you've been. So why music? It's tough. It's tough. And you're going to fall down a hell of a lot of times more than you're going to stand up. But it's the lyrics and it's the friendships that you make. That's the reason.
Awesome. So one last thing that I want to touch on because I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know it's Monday night and you gotta get up early to go to work and what have you. But one thing I saw on your website was the FFA song contest.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about earlier. I didn't really talk about it much, but yeah, so the song contest is a huge deal. I think I'm hoping now that all these FFA students kind of got lost and didn't get to finish their stuff. I'm hoping next year I can make that better for them. There's so many chapters in the United States that don't have funding. It's not only about sports. I mean, people are falling away from the farm and people don't know where their products come from. It just doesn't come from the store, people.
Mm-hmm.
Just so everybody knows, it doesn't
Yep.
come from the store. But I just want to give back to those kids that don't get a lot, whether it's buying them a sheep for their project or buying them clippers to trim their cow for the fair. Anything will help. One of my friends is in California and she says that their budget's like $100 this month and that gets them nothing. I mean, they can barely travel with that. So I want to give back. And so we're going to do a fundraiser in June here in Nashville. And there'll be more details on the website. But the biggest thing I want kids to do in August is make a video of why they need the scholarship, why they love agriculture, how they're going to, take that in community and be advocates for agriculture. And then once they send in the video, they can share the music video and the song that I'm going to release in September, and get the story out about agriculture. So it'll be a fun time. I'm excited. I've already met a lot of them. I've been talking at different school events and stuff. So yeah, it's been fun to like get back into like my days of agriculture because I was a huge Aggie at Fresno State in California. And so it's good to be back, being that like young, being on every board and, being a young farmers and rancher. And so it's great. It's awesome.
Perfect. Awesome. Um, so uh, what I know you mentioned that you have you're kind of you have a radio tour that you're kind of working out right now, but what's where can everybody find you online, and then plug the song one more time so people know exactly where to go listen to it. Where can everybody find you online?
Yeah. Okay. So Best Side of Me is the song. It got released Friday. If you like rock and roll country, that's for you. It's on everything. It went out to everything: Amazon, Google, iTunes, Spotify, Play MPE. Yeah, it's on everything. And then Steph Nash Music is my Instagram. Stephanie Nash Music is my Facebook. My Twitter is very sad, so if you want to go follow me, I have just started Twitter. I'm not a Twitter person. I'm on TikTok though. We've had some fun ones on TikTok.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. My biggest ones are Instagram and Facebook. And then StephanieNashMusic.com is where, like, anybody that's listening that's a FFA kid or knows the FFA kid, you guys can start submitting whenever you want. I said August, but I know if you guys don't have much to do right now, it might be a fun project to start early.
Nice. Musicians on TikTok are always interesting to me because I haven't quite been able to figure out how to use TikTok, I guess is the best way to say it. So what's your experience been like on that platform?
I use it mostly for, like, my cows and my
Okay.
dog. I haven't really used it for music much yet. Like, I'm just trying to do a lifestyle thing right now. I
Okay.
mean, I'll probably get there. But yeah, it's just so hard. There's a lot of people that have people manage their social medias, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's hard for me to, like, get into all of this and keep organized. So TikTok's kind of just like what it is right now.
It's like a creative outlet for you to just do something very spontaneous and very different than what you normally do. Is that fair?
Yeah, I guess we did, like, the one of the dancing ones. Me and my girlfriends, we're all in the same group of, we have the same mentor, and so
Mhm.
we did one of those, like, last month, and that was fun, I guess.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, thank you so much for giving me the time to sit down and chat with you. It's been a fun ride, and I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this. When you messaged me, when did you message me? Was it last night that you messaged me, or yet yesterday at some point, I believe. I was hoping we'd get it nailed down quickly, and we did, and so I'm really appreciative of it. I was glad we were able to make this work. And so I just want to thank you again for your time. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you all later.